son's old garage.
Join the program
They do it over?
in Wisconsin.
All right, everyone. Guess we're ready. Good afternoon and welcome to the May 3rd, 2023 meeting of Chatham's Historic Business District Commission. As soon as our clerk, Sam Strybert, gets through reading the governor's directive concerning these meetings, we'll move right along to the applications. First order of business, though, will be a roll call to make sure that we have a quorum, and I can assure you we do. All right, Sam?
Yes, pursuant to Governor Healy's March 29, 2023 signing of the Acts of 2023 extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, general laws, paragraph 30, 30-A, paragraph 20, until March 31, 2025. This meeting of the Chatham Historic Business District Commission is being conducted in person and via remote participation. Every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in the order. A reminder that people who would like to listen to this meeting while in progress may do so by calling the phone number 1-508-945-4410, conference ID 270-099, 399 pound, or join the meeting online via Microsoft Teams through the link in the posted agenda. While this is a live broadcast and simulcast on Channel 18, despite our best efforts, we may not be able to provide real-time access. We will post a record of this meeting in the town's website as soon as possible. In accordance with town policy, the public can speak to any issue, hearing, or business item on the agenda during the meeting when recognized by the chair.
Thank you, Sam. All right, now we'll do a roll call of the members who are present, and we'll be reviewing the applications this afternoon. Let's see, on my left, we have Steve DeBoer.
Steve DeBoer is present.
Our vice chair, Darcy Sequin.
Darcy Sequin is here.
Our clerk, Sam Strybert,
Sam Strybert is here.
obviously. Our regular member, Doug,
Doug Ratton is here.
and our second alternate, Tim Gilmore.
Tim Gilmore is present.
Did I get you, Steve? Oh, you're all done, okay. All righty, we have a quorum. All right, now for the minutes. Anybody have any comments on the minutes? And those are of April 19th. No? All right.
Doug Ratton will make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Steve?
Steve DeBoer approves.
Darcy?
Darcy Sequin is in favor.
Sam?
Sam Strybert approves.
Doug?
Doug Ratton approves.
Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
Steve?
I still approve.
Okay. And Tim, what's that?
Nothing.
Tim, you're taking Bob's place tonight. He's not here with us. All right?
Very good.
All right, Sam, our first application.
The first application is signs, 23-051 Elwood Raw Bar, care of Tanya Kahili. Application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 309 Orleans Road. And the central permitting coordinator has determined that the proposed sign complies with the sign bylaw.
Thank you, Sam. And while you mentioned that, the Central Permitting Coordinator, Sarah Clark, is with us here tonight, as is Chantel Kilkenny, the Community Development Administrative Assistant. Thank you. All righty. I see that we have the applicant here virtually. Would you like to introduce yourself, sir?
I'm David Eldridge,
And I'm Tanya Khalil.
Well, good afternoon.
brother, sister.
All right, what can you tell us about your sign?
Yeah, so we're just looking to install a 3-foot by 5-foot sign in the shape of our oyster above the 2 front doors leading into the building. We're going to have 2 gooseneck lights above it. There you go.
All righty. Seems pretty
So
straightforward.
yes, so that's our, the sign is actually our logo that we've used in our catering business since
I can't hear
2000.
I don't,
They have to speak up, staff.
Loud-
Video?
Can you hear me? Sorry, David Eldridge, can you hear me?
Louder.
Can you speak louder, sir?
Can you hear me?
that's good.
Yes.
Yes, now we can.
Okay, all right, so yes, the sign is actually our logo that we've had for our catering business since 2010, so hence the design of the oyster.
All right, well, let's see what the commission members say about it. Steve?
I have a couple of questions. First of all, I think the building has been changed since
A little bit.
this picture's been, are you going to be allowed to keep the new facade, or are they going to return the building to its original form?
No, it'll be back to its original shape. So everything they put there will disappear.
Okay. And then the only other question I had, or maybe just a clarification, you've got two pictures of your sign. One said Elwood's Raw Bar in Chatham, and then the other one doesn't have the word Chatham in it. So which is the,
It's the one without the word Chatham, so it's Elwood's Raw Bar.
okay,
Is the-
okay, that's it. And the lighting
Yeah,
you described, and it's downcast lighting. Okay, thank you.
Darcy?
I was just curious if someone had an actual swatch of the red. It's hard to tell with just the printout.
We have our sticker, we're basing it off of our sticker. I don't know if you can see that.
It's coming.
It's a, yep.
Sorry, Sarah. I just have to see what it is. Oh,
You have to turn up the volume on your phone and make sure that the picture, your faces are centered in the picture, because I haven't heard a thing all night.
don't see it.
No,
Okay, can you see that? And let's see.
Is there
Can you
any
see
way?
the,
Go ahead.
no, that, it's, I mean.
We have
it's a
one here, it's the
basic
same one I
set.
assume that you have.
We have it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there any way that you could tone that red down a bit? The other signs are not quite as bold as that.
It's,
Yeah,
so
yeah, I mean, we
Just
can
add
try
some-
to tone it down. Yeah, it's a basic
can't-
red.
I'm
Yeah.
having a hard time hearing her, sorry.
She said it's a basic red, and Tanya and David, they are having a lot of trouble hearing you. It's not coming through great on this end.
yeah, so we have the volume turned all the way up on the computer, right?
Okay, I can hear him all right.
If we shout, can you hear my voice clear now?
We can hear you, yes. I
Okay.
can anyway.
Okay, the question from our vice chair was, do you think you can tone the red down? The color red?
We can try to, yes, we can certainly go a shade lighter.
Either that or maybe add a little black to it. It would tone it down. Or burgundy, something like that.
Our sticker is burgundy.
It is, yeah. It's,
It's
I
just-
think this, so that in the picture, looking at this sign, that comes across as redder than our actual, do you have a copy of a sticker? Because you can see our sticker's actually more burgundy, the one we're holding up. See that?
I don't know. Still looks a little bright. That's the only comment I have.
Sam?
okay, we can tone it down.
Okay,
Okay, that'd be great. Thank you.
Sam?
Welcome.
I didn't hear whether Elmwoods has the Chatham in it or not. Not,
no, it
Does
does not.
okay. And we don't have a sufficient picture to actually understand how Elwood's, the lettering of Elwood Is it gonna be parallel with the top of the doorway opening? Or is it gonna have
Yeah.
this little kick up? You see,
No, it'll be straight. It will be
you're
parallel.
not looking at the gable straight on in these two photographs, and you don't have any drawing of the installation. So it's very hard to see whether the thing will be crooked or will it look like it belonged level.
It will look level,
It will look level. It will look level.
level.
Oh, well, it's got to do more than looking level, it's got to be level.
It
Well,
will
it
be level.
It will be level, they said.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You have, yes, you have the lights. And, okay. All right, that's all I have.
Okay. Doug?
I agree with the vice chair's statement on the red. I'd like to see a burgundy or a deeper shade or something a little bit toned down. But I think the sign is sharp, and I like the lights you've chosen. Again, if it's flat and level against the building, I think that would certainly be a good presentation.
Thank you, and yes.
Jim?
Just a question regarding the, what's the sign made of? What material is it made out of? Is it wood?
It's PVC.
Okay. And is there gonna be any damage, not covered by the sign from the removal of the materials, do you know, from what was currently there or was formerly there?
So they were very clear inside and outside that they restore it exactly how it is. If it's anything not right, they fix it to pretty much perfection. And I think they will absolutely do that, having worked with them there. So it will probably be in better shape than it is now.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'm good.
All righty. So I have no further questions. All that I had have been answered. I agree with Darcy and Sam. And so if you're willing to make it darker or burgundy and to make sure that the sign is level, then I'm fine with the lights and everything else. All righty? So Doug, do you want to?
So Doug Grant will make a motion to signs, application 23-051, Elwood's Raw Bar, care of Tanya Khalil. Application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 309 Orleans Road, as presented, with the exception that the sign may be made a burgundy color and to be mounted level on the building.
Darcy Seacon will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Steve?
I will approve as amended.
Darcy?
Darcy Seacon approves.
Sam?
Sam Strobert approves.
Doug?
Doug Grant approves.
Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
Very good. All right, we got that one out of the way. Thank you, folks.
Good luck to you.
Thank
luck
you
to
very
you.
much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Sam?
22-52, Cinder and Salt, care of Mitchell Kennedy, application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 645 Main Street. And the Central Permitting Coordinator, Sarah Clark, has determined that the sign complies with the sign bylaw.
Thank you. Do we have anybody here? Do we have the representative? Or the applicant themselves? There he is. Good afternoon, sir.
No, that's not him, I don't
That's not you? All right.
think so.
Do we have anybody?
Close your monitor.
All right, so we don't have anybody for
Okay, we'll put it.
23-052? All right,
It
then.
does not appear that they are here.
Do we need them here? It looks pretty straightforward. Is that something we normally do, or we need to have them?
It's not something we normally do. I'm okay with it if you want, if you think it's, gonna fly. I don't know about making the conditions, but
Nobody will come.
No one will come.
No, I think we better
We
wait.
let them off the hook.
All right.
Yeah, do we?
All right, well, let's go along with it here then.
Well, do you want to, should we?
We can just wait.
Continue it, Dan?
Well, if we go to the next one, I'm afraid that we're gonna have,
Well, they're not here, so why don't we just wait and see if they show up? If they're later, you know.
okay, let's go with the windows, Sam. That's 23-056.
We would do 054, couldn't we, no?
Yeah, aren't we doing 5-4?
After, I think we're gonna knock off.
So you want me to read the
Well,
next?
wait a minute, this was different. This is a
You
sign.
want me to do 2356, right?
52 is the one we're tabling until,
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm looking for the one with the windows.
That's 56.
Yeah, 2356.
Oh, okay, yep, you're right, okay, do that one, yep.
okay.
Okay. 23-56, Sarah and Gary Gatto, care of Renewal by Anderson. Application to replace 8 windows on the structure located at 99 Depot Road, Unit 22. And
Hello, my name is Seth Grizzy. I'll be representing Renewal by Anderson for this project.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Thanks for having me on.
All right, so what are you up to here?
We're changing 8 windows out. In like, there's a couple of windows that have missing grills on the side, bathroom window, and then 2 on the back. The windows currently have interior wood removable grills that have been broken on a few windows. So we'll be restoring those to the 6/6. I believe the ones that are missing are unit 105, 107, and 108 on the back of the house. Those will be getting grills like the rest of the house as well.
All righty. Steve?
Well, a couple of questions. I think I read here someplace that, are you gonna trim these out with 1x5 and a sill? Like a historic type
We're
of
gonna
sill?
be putting back the shingles and the clapboard that are currently there.
But is there gonna be any 1x5 or 4 casing around the window with a sill?
No, we're gonna be putting back exactly what's there. So on 101, we'll be putting shingles back, and then on the front look with 102, 103, and 104, we'll be putting the clapboard back.
Right. And then 5 and 6 are not gonna get any trim around them or anything?
The 5 and 6 will go back to the shingles that they're currently there.
Because it looks like on the second floor, it looks like there's something around those windows, and I was just, it looks like there's some kind of
Yeah,
1x
that's-
trim around those.
I'm not quite sure what's there. That's a separate unit.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me, these are going
Yep.
inside the existing windows, are they not? You're replacing
These
the-
are going to be full tears. The wood-clad windows that are currently in there have rot inside, so we have to take out the frames.
Okay, I guess I don't have any other questions. I guess I would prefer to see some casing around the outside of those windows, but I guess we can, if somebody else has a question about that as well, we can continue, talking about it. Okay, thank you.
Darcy?
You're welcome.
Yeah, I had the same concern. It just looks like they're replacement windows, correct? So they're gonna go in the same spot. Yes?
They're going to go in the same spots,
Yeah,
but
okay.
again, we're taking the actual framing of the window out, so it's going to keep the integrity and look of the windows. It appears to me that the windows above those have been replaced with insert windows. As you can see, the lack of the change in glass as it appears different to the ones underneath it. It looks to me as though those have been replacement windows where they put the windows inside the existing frame. That's why there's a different appearance.
Okay, nothing further.
All right, Sam?
So are you gonna, you're not gonna, you're taking out the old window and you're putting a new window in the rough opening? Is that correct?
It's a new construction type of installation, correct? We're taking everything out.
So that's a yes.
Yes.
Okay, so now so your intention was to keep the shutters? Or reinstall?
The shutters will be, yes, the shutters will be reinstalled, correct? Yes.
Okay, so if we put a trim around it, the shutters, well, the shutters would be correctly sized. See, you know, you're benefiting a little bit the fact that these were not trimmed out. And so we generally will allow people to replace like for like. So, but our intention is to have the windows in the historic district be fully trimmed and set with a sill, a historic sill. So that's an overall policy that you should take to heart if you're gonna replace windows around this area.
Oh, no problem. I
And so
completely understand.
we need to put some teeth into this policy of ours. And it looks like that they have a wider trim up above, but you're telling me that the window they replaced has the frame end wider than the frame end in your, so it's not
So
really
if you
trimmed
keep it
out,
on
it just looks wider.
Correct, yeah. If you keep it on this picture here with Unit 101, you can see the dimensions of where the shutter meets the trim on the corner. It's the same dimension. What they did is they put an insert window in the existing framing. So it's an actual smaller window with no trim around it. That's what that is up top. And then down bottom, that is what that window up top originally looked like before they put new windows inside the existing framing.
But it's not a brick mold trim, is it?
We are not putting in a brick mold trim, no. It's gonna have the same appearance as the window that's currently in 101. It's gonna look the same with that window framing. It will not be thicker like the one up top.
So-
That one up top is more than likely an insert.
So the white fin that goes around this window that's visible as white, is that a half inch or is it, normally, Anderson's Woodwright windows have a 7/8 inch trim, not trim, but fin on the, is that not correct?
Frame,
Yep.
the framing.
No, it's what's visible. It's part of it's part of the frame, you're right.
Correct. Yes.
Well,
Dimensionally, it's gonna be very, very
You put us between a little bit between a rock and a hard place, because we would like to see these be more reflective of the style that we're shooting for the district.
Understood.
Okay, Doug?
Sorry to put you in that position.
You know, I agree with Sam, and I think, you know, at this point, can we put, we want the windows trimmed, you know, same with what Steve mentioned around, so they have that look that's consistent with the rest of the building. You know, is that something, is that within our jurisdiction?
The
is.
rest of the building doesn't
It
actually
is.
have trim on it, though,
Yeah.
does it?
I don't know if he's removing anything on the outside of the window. He's not removing any shingles or anything, so.
If he trims the bottom ones, then they're gonna look different than the top ones. It's gonna just
They'll look
reverse,
different than the
it's gonna
top.
reverse the
It's like a
situation.
mismatch
Windows
of
are
windows down
smaller.
there. And the Anderson, renewal by Anderson simply go inside the old frame, so
But in this case, we're getting a full window.
Brand-new window.
We're not getting a replacement window, we're getting a full.
If he's getting a full window and it requires him to take off the shutters and to remove shingles, then I would say, yes, go ahead and
Yeah,
require the trim.
oh. Well, I think
Even though-
because the
even though the-
remaining windows are not trimmed,
Right.
I think we're overreaching a little bit. And
I agree.
I wish we could find a way to deal with this, but I think, I'm just happy to have said my 2 cents about it.
Yeah, I believe that the replacement windows will cause the window to appear as if it has more trim around it than what you're seeing now. It does widen that area, there's less glass visible, so it'll look more like trim. But I think it is a little much. Yeah,
All right, so I don't have any more questions then.
okay. Tim?
Just a question on 105. Now, I'm seeing an example of a 6/6. Is the 105 replacement going to be a 1/1, or is it going to be a 6/6? The example I'm
It's
looking
gonna be a
at.
6/6. 6/6, like the one on the second floor above it. We're putting grills in that window as well,
Okay, that was my question. Okay, thank
so
you.
it'll match. You're welcome.
I think once he's done, all the windows will look more uniform. All right.
Go for it.
All right, so under additions / alterations, application 23-056, Sarah and Gary Morgado, care of a renewal by Anderson, application to replace 8 windows on the structure located at 99 Depot Road, Unit 22, as presented.
Darcy Seacon will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Steve?
Steve DeBoer approves.
Darcy?
Darcy Seacon approves.
Sam?
Sam Stryver approves.
Doug?
Doug Grattan approves.
Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
And Dan Silver approves as well. All righty. So back to, where are we?
Thank you
Back
very
to-
much.
You're all set. Thank you.
Are we back to 23-052?
5-4.
5-4?
Do 5-4.
5-2 never
5-2 is not here.
Oh, okay. No one's here yet? Okay. All right, then. I guess that's about all we can do for now, and go to,
5-4.
yeah, 5-4, 23-054. Sam?
Yes. 22-054, 859 Main Street LLC, care of JFF Design. Application to renovate the existing structure located at 859 Main Street.
I have a section 23 disclosure. I sold the McKenties this building 2 years ago, roughly.
We have no objection if you stay.
Thank you.
Well, we got the usual suspects. Good afternoon, gentlemen. If you'd like to
one of us
introduce yourself?
Good afternoon. So, we had a real tough fight with the owners of the property. Do we leave the building exactly as it is, including the for rent sign? Or would we change it? So, it was a tough struggle, but we decided to change it. So I know we're gonna want to put the changes up on the screen. There you go. So, this is the site plan, but probably best to scroll down. Probably best to scroll down so we see the colors and stuff. Yeah, so why don't we go to 7? All right, so the interior of the building is going to be converted to a restaurant. And this is what the exterior will look like. This is Joe Fournier. He's the architect who did all the design work.
Afternoon. I was just saying hi. Keep going.
So, here, so Joe will explain in more detail the changes. Go ahead, Joe.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Joe Fournier, JFF Design Architects. So one of the things that we looked at of this building, we know the building very much so. There's really no historical significance currently of the building, so we're hoping to bring back the character that is the building. You know, it does have Georgian classical appointments to it, so we're maintaining those. We're going to be replacing those in the profiles. One of the things that we're doing is we're creating a new frieze around the building, which will help some of the deteriorating brick that we have in the front. Will also help to cap and ground our new storefront that we're doing. When we saw this building, we had an opportunity to create a new age type facility, new age type restaurant, kind of a grab and go for beachgoers. We also recognized that not only for placement for the business, but also placement of the building is very important because, as you all know, it is the gateway to the historical downtown. It has a very large present site. What we're also trying to do is to take that asphaltic jungle that's around the entire periphery. We're trying to green that up a little bit. So in doing our parking design, we instituted some green space as much as possible, introducing some local planting, some smaller scale shade trees. We have a section of conservation area in this back corner, so we're introducing some native species in that particular area. We'll be dealing with conservation as far as that goes. So in our our concept design is to create an open restaurant on the inside with a service bar, a periphery of basically a takeout window, a walk-up window, and then an outside dining experience here in a patio space. So the patio is intended to be seasonal at this point. Sarah, if you wouldn't mind going back to this here, the second one, thank you. So we didn't want to take much away from the building at all. If anything, we wanted to open up basically a two-sided window with large storefront. The storefront is going to have a wood appointment to the outside, so wood trim. So we wanted to try to introduce some of our natural materials to try to restore this building. Currently, it's a combination of brick with a block backup. When we looked at it structurally, we need to reinforce that block structure. So we're creating a wood interior, a wood-bearing interior. We're going to tie the block back. So why is that important? We're not intending to add anything to the exterior of the building outside of our new window and door openings. The area of improvements, we currently have HVAC units in the back. We're going to go with our air handlers are going to be in this area. We're going to take over that same or similar footprint and put all of our outside refrigerated storage, dry storage. Also, we're enclosing our dumpster behind this cedar fence. When we enter the building here, we have a double door entry. We have a single door egress out the back, so all of our egress paths and all our accessibility is covered within the space. The way the operation is going to go, you're going to come into this queue area. You're going to order your food. The food is primarily a pre-prepared salad, and then you're going to have add-in proteins and things of that sort. Our signature rotisserie, if you will, is going to be more of an iconic piece. It's going to be large, have a heavy presence to it, tying back to our name, of course. We're also going to have additional kitchen equipment, additional rotisseries in the back of house kitchen. We have 2 accessible toilets in here. We have a luncheon counter type seating in here. And again, this is our wraparound bar, full service bar. We are going to focus on some local microbrews, try to introduce, the whole idea is to try to introduce more native and more local plantings, proteins, and also our micros and wine selection.
Okay. Do you want to see more detail of the front windows?
I'm all set for now.
I do.
Anybody?
I would like to see the detail on the entry.
On the entry? Sure. So Sarah, if you can come into this area here, please, and then blow up on the, if you could just blow up on this, thank you. So what we're proposing is our awning is intended to be a newly defined type awning, but it's also wood encased. We're trying to do a light support, a light angled top support element in our bracketing. Sorry, Bill, I keep on hitting the back of your head. One of the elements that we're doing with our entry, we wanted to bring in a signature piece, a signature awning piece. So of course, everybody that knows this is actually the Chatham bar, right? So we wanted to try to make it somewhat iconic to the area. The green selection is something that's part of our branding. So all of our umbrellas, our chairs, our signage, they're all gonna be that Kelly green. Our storefront windows are intended to be a Conair type storefront window, but I am gonna be putting wood trim elements around it. Actually, Sarah, if you could go down into the, probably 15 or 16. Right here. 17, please. So this is kind of where we got our inspiration in showing through the ownership team. So using, again, a well-known storefront manufacturer, but do the wooden appointments, the wood trim appointment here. Our awning piece is also going to be wood as well, so it's going to provide not only that light awning appearance, but we're also going to create some type of shelter. One of the things that we're doing to the outside of the building on the right-hand side is that's actually going to be our takeout queue on our building on the right-hand side.
Do you mean the right-hand side of the building?
Yes.
Or the
front
right-hand
and
side
the
of the
right.
front?
There's gonna be a queue. Sorry, Sarah, if you can go back to, the front entry is fine. We can go into here, this one right here, please. Thank you. So our takeout queue is going to be on the right. So that's why we created we basically took this awning around the three sides for continuity. But it's intended to have a queue here because we have a takeout window that's right here to the right-hand side of the entry.
Okay?
No, I have a lot of questions. Do you want to start? I have a lot of questions.
Oh, yeah, I would,
No,
I'm
you were
curious about the
finished.
traffic pattern. As you know, that's a cut-through from Main Street, 28, to Chatham Village Market and CVS.
We're very aware of that. We're actually hoping that our occupancy will deter that. We have talked about, there is a drive easement through there on the property. So
Right.
one of the things that we've talked through a couple of things, number one, restricting the access, making it perhaps a gated access, and that way our first responders can have access to it should they need to open the gate in an emergent situation. We're not proposing to do that just yet, but we're prepared as need to come back and offer these things as either a deterrent or some way of stemming that. We do, however, want to preserve both of our entries off of 28. The reason for that is if you take a look at our site plan, we're intending to bring our deliveries in through here, around the back of the building, and then have them exit here. We understand fully that this is a cut-through, but here again, once the building is occupied, we're hoping that that will be less attractive for individuals, but we're prepared to deal with that after the fact.
Okay,
We've discussed an easement, we've discussed the terms of the easement with the Quincy family that controls the CVS property. And they're okay with whatever we want to do. If we want to shut it off, they're okay with that. If we want to leave it open, they're okay with that also. So we thought for the time being, we'll leave it open. There aren't a lot of people who use that. just the impatient ones who don't want to wait through the red light to turn into the CVS. How do I know that? Because I'm one of those people. But other than that, so it doesn't get heavy use, but but we do have that option in our discussions with the Quincy family.
The ownership team also thought that there may be a business benefit to them as well. If someone actually is going to the CVS, they may, well, let's get a bite to eat and they can come through this way. So again, that's another reason why we didn't want to necessarily eliminate it, but we're aware that it is problematic.
All right, the other question I have is, on this particular plan, your parking areas look very optimistic to me, but it's not in our purview, and it's on paper. But are you taking into account, if I put the tables up there, is there still that amount of parking?
So one of the notable things, I know that town regulations allow us to do otherwise. Every single seat in our outdoor and indoor restaurant is covered by a parking space. So we actually conform fully with the parking regulations of the town. The other thing is the owner of the building, we had this aisle width set at it was about 2 or 3 feet less. And what the building owner asked is if we could actually widen this just a bit. It's really an appreciated move. We did reduce a little bit of our green space. We were trying to maximize that, but these extra aisle widths, I think, are a little bit more than aggressive. I think you'll find that they're very comfortable.
Okay, well, I guess my real question was, if you overlaid the tables on that particular drawing, would that still give you enough room to park?
I'm not sure if their tables are here on the patio.
They're on the okay, that's my
Yes, sir.
question. So
This is
that's
a
not the
patio.
side, though, the sides, you got,
This is also patio. This is
right.
fully covered here. This is all patio. Our parking stops where the wheel stops are.
Yep.
So we've actually taken 2 steps. We recognize as a potential safety element here. So not only are we providing wheel stops, but we're also providing bollards with a rope drape. We wanted to try to
Right.
tap in some of
Saw
that
that.
nautical theme.
Yep.
But what that does is, if you'll notice, Zara, if you zoom in on this one, please. So if you notice, these bollards are actually in the center of each parking space. And what we're hoping is we have 2 elements of security to prevent anybody that, the unfortunate accelerator press, we're hoping that will help and we don't end up in the Cape Cod Times,
yeah, okay.
or Chronicle, I should say, sorry.
Well, I guess you've answered my question. I've seen 2 pictures now of those. It just seems like you hadn't taken up the, the seating area sufficiently in respect to the parking. I thought, when you put the seating in there, that there wasn't going to be as much parking as you thought.
No, actually, no, it's, I think, outside the fact that we designed it, I think it's a well-laid-out plan.
Yeah.
And I think it tried to accommodate everybody, and we're hoping to take full advantage of the shoulder seasons for sure.
Okay, and can you go through the lighting again?
Absolutely. So, Sarah, if you kindly go through, start here. So here again, I mean, not to be too literal, but this is a wave, obviously. So these elements, these wall sconces, they're going to go at all of the brick appointments. One of the things that we're doing is the facade of our building has a heavy storefront that we're going to be dividing that up into these more of a punched window, even though they're oversized punched windows. So we're introducing new brick pilasters between those windows. In doing so, we want to take these wall sconces and place the wall sconces around the 3 sides of the building. The next thing we're looking to do to take one step, and Sarah, if you kindly go to this one. We're looking to do these strip lights because we're trying to obviously maintain proper ambient levels, but we're trying not to overdo our lighting. We're not trying to do RLMs or fixtures that you see everywhere. We wanted to try to do something a little different, but provide the same lighting coverage. One of the things, these strips are going between the entry door and the adjacent window. So we're intending to keep them a very, very low profile, but very effective as well. Our street lighting, which is our last bit, Sarah, please. Should be this last slide down here. So we're looking, I mean, all of our lighting is intended to be downcast. Arguably, the wall sconces actually have an upcast, but that upcast is going to be coming up into the awning piece. So nothing is going to be going beyond our horizontal line that we've created. So we're not spilling any of that light out. So the awning is serving as the shade of the light. And here again, we're trying to go LED so we can keep our energy levels proper. We also want to keep a nice broad cast down into the parking area without having any spillage at all. So everything is going to be inward and then downcast.
Okay, thank you. All right, anybody want to start off? I mean,
I have a question. So currently, the building now has the brick facade that is peeling off. I believe it's a stucco material. Is that all being removed and a new material being put on, or how are you going to handle that situation?
It's actually not stucco. That's actual brick.
It's actual brick,
Yeah,
okay.
it is brick. It's not a great brick. So there is going to be a significant amount of repointing. One of the things, and Sarah, if you kindly could zero in on this part, please. So you'll notice that there are a significant amount of patched up windows, old doors and things of that sort. What we're hoping to do is to clean that up, to try to take that curse out of things. We're trying to avoid our whitewash. One of the things I talked to the ownership team about, restoring the luster of the brick. Personally, I think painting brick is really not it's not a comfortable thing. It's not intended to be painted. So when we redo all of our window and door openings here, we want to take a similar brick and then recreate a rhythm of pilasters that we have in between the windows. Here, we're going to repoint, try to clean up the efflorescence that's here. I also think that the frieze that we're creating over here is going to cover up a multitude of sins, shall we say. So we're going to do the best that we can without a full restoration. The challenging piece that we have here is the backer is not a full block. It's actually a 4-inch block. Yeah. So we have we're basically teetering between aesthetics and structure. So by introducing the wood bearing wall on the inside, we're hoping to restore that. It's very minimal what we need to do to the building with respect to the building code, but we want to take that extra length just so we can preserve this facade as best possible.
Very good.
okay,
That's all I have.
it's just that question, and no one seems to want to take the reins here. I will. I have to say right off the bat that I'm really not sure that New Age works in historic business districts. I think you've designed a building that you want. I don't think you've designed a building that fits in there. You have buildings all around you that would have been absolutely perfect. I think the restaurant there is great. I think your layout of the restaurant, your parking, everything has been taken into account. But we went through great labor to get CVS and Chatham Village Market in there. And those style buildings do everything that you want here. If you put a porch on one or two sides of that, you've got the same thing you got over CVS. Those windows, I don't think belong. I couldn't allow those windows if I was the only person on the board, which I'm not. Bill's heard this many times. Those windows in there, it's all starting to look like every pizza parlor there is in Dennis, and every burger place there is on the Cape, if there are any. So in that sense, I don't think that you've really helped in things at all. You have got a couple of nice features. I think some of the wood is nice. I think you've broken up the brick, but I think you've missed the whole point of being in the historic district. Take away all your overhangs and put porches in there with sports, just like Chatham Fish and Lobster has, just like CVS and Chatham Village Market. You'll fit right in with a very nice restaurant. And your lighting is just, as far as I'm concerned, way off the chart for the district. So anyways, I'll set the mood if anybody wants to go. Darcy? Oh, also, I wish you had come in for a pre-app application. It would have saved a lot of work. I know you weren't aware of those, but at least you would have got us feedback on this.
First of all, I want to say it's an excellent presentation. Whether we agree with it or not, it's very good, very precise. not too many questions have to be asked about what you'd like to do. I agree with Dan about the lighting. I think it is too modern. You do have CVS in the market next door. Beautiful buildings, historic. Probably on the other side, there's gonna be some residential homes that are gonna be historic looking. So I think this building, you've got the right concept. I think you need to add, maybe a lot of extra trim. And the canopy, all that area there, I think it's just too modern for the historic district.
Okay.
The other thing is the fencing around it. You had mentioned it's gonna be beachy rope, heavy rope, or?
Yes.
Okay. Even if you wrapped some of those bollards in roping, I think it'd bring more of a beachy
Absolutely.
look to it. That's all I have right now.
Sam?
I caught something else in the application. We are creating a New England modern, and that sort of put me in looking at this and seeing what could be done. Now, you're working with a gas station that had no style, no historical elements on it at all, but a couple of things that you've proposed here, and I agree with the porch notion of you, instead of having awnings or something that's, the awnings and the wood, I think could be more attuned to the district if they became porches. And then that would, unfortunately, I was interested in this band of white that you have going around. Was there any breakdown? I mean, that's where typically New England trim is or panel work or contour molding develops a strong place. What would be a problem with what you propose is just a big white band of I don't know what, wood?
It's actually, it's AZAC, but
It's AZAC.
it is a freeze, though, as you know. You're familiar with the term, I know. So
So
our
it
intent
would-
is to provide the detailing in that freeze. It's a stepped freeze, which you would see in a Greek revival. And to the elements of trim, we're restoring the elements, the Greek revival trim that's on the building now. So with respect to some of the comments that we're hearing about a modern building, we're really not introducing a modern building. The modern actually has to do with the type of restaurant that's there.
So then you spoke about, well, I see, I kind of like the brick piers separated by windows and trim, but you showed a slide up there, and I think it's in the book here somewhere, of very heavy wooden wooden doors, wooden headpiece.
Like that.
Yeah, it's
Right, but that's- but
it's shown
understand,
as
this is
very
our-
heavy.
this is
But in
our
the
inspiration.
drawings,
This is our,
all the windows are shown with two lines, two very thin lines. And so I don't see saying you're gonna do that and what you drew.
but we're going to do a scale approach. As I mentioned, this was our inspiration to what we've proposed. Our drawings are accurate. We're going with a 2 to 3 inch mullion style between the windows. Again, it was really to kind of get a sense as to what the flavor would be, what the color scheme would be with respect to the wood. It's a natural tone. It's not the heaviness that you see there. I agree with you. That's overly heavy for an entry. But
Okay,
I'm
so-
referring only to the materials that are there.
Okay, so, but it would be a wood-grained
Yes, sir.
material.
I'm
And-
thinking an oak or something like that.
Okay, I think the sign you have doesn't comply with the,
They have not applied for any signage as
I'm
of
just
yet.
going to tell you that there are regulations regarding the size of the sign, and that whole piece of thing is a sign.
Due respect, that sign is existing. We are not, all we're trying to do
No,
is.
no, I'm talking about the initials that are standing free in the middle of the patio.
That's more of a sculptural piece. It's not intended to be a sign.
Well, they are a sign, aren't they?
Oh, it's a sculpture piece.
It's a sculptural piece.
Okay.
And as
Well, then
we,
I wouldn't be for it. It has
Well,
nothing
you
to do
know,
with a
that reminds me
historic
when
district.
Seeing the Rough did a painting of a whale being taken on the side, which was very attractive. And the selectman said, oh, that's a sign, because it attracts attention. It wasn't a sign, it was a beautiful
This-
painting.
this is a-
Unfortunately, the owner at that time, Frank Tobin, didn't want to get in a fight with the selectman, so he had it painted over. This is a sculpture.
So there won't be any other signage on the building outside of that? Nothing that will say restaurant?
we are actually talking with the ownership team now about that. We haven't come to a consensus, so obviously that would be an element that we would come back before you for approval for a sign. As of right now, we're intending to develop something in this entry piece, in the negative space here. We're trying not to do any signage on our windows. We're certainly not trying to do any kind of a roof sign. We're trying to keep the signage low profile, low visibility, but high enough visibility, obviously, for an attraction to the restaurant. The pole sign that we have, it's a retro piece, and we're looking to reuse that retro piece. Even the lighting of that, we want to be very clear, very streamlined lighting, no upcasts, certainly no backlit, even though the image makes it seem like we're backlighting the sign. We're not doing that, obviously, because A, it's not allowed, and B, it's really not great. But we're looking to do a low-profile lighting strictly around whether we do around the edges or however that's done. But this sign is very iconic, and we wanted to reuse that.
So, one thing if you would show a picture of like that one there, but closer in on the building, you had a picture of the
So, Sarah,
existing building?
if you go to this one, or actually this one's probably the best.
Okay. Yeah, that one. Well, that one, that's it, good. I'm looking at your drawings that are coming from a similar angle, and the pitch looks quite different.
The pitch is the same. We're not changing the roof at all. It's a truss roof. We're not changing that.
Okay, it's just, it's, that roof pitch looks quite steep, and the pitch in the drawings looks quite flat.
Oh, Sam, that's
I'm a pretty good,
Pretty good judge at views, are you?
no, but Sam, we call that,
you might be just in the way the rendering works.
yeah, Sam, we call that an optical conclusion.
What?
We call that an optical conclusion.
Optical conclusion.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Straight, in our terminology, when we do our renderings, we actually do a hover style, so it's almost like a down view on the renderings. And so it has a tendency of changing in perspective effects. So the roof pitch is exactly the same. If I could hover about 20 feet above the ground, I could probably take the existing photo and show them exactly the same.
Yeah. Okay, well, that shows a little steeper roof there.
I assure you it's the same.
So that's pretty much, I would like to echo the chairman's suggestion that you took advantage of coming in and having
A porch around two sides anyways.
a what? No, having what's the pre-application?
They've already applied, so.
Pre-application, I know they applied.
Yeah.
So, but, we went through maybe 4 to 6 meetings over,
A little bit more than that, Sam. I think it was around 14, but anyways.
well, maybe it was more. I mean, before we finally approved the whole application.
Right. Before I ask Doug, I just want to let you guys know, just for DYI, or FYI, I made the same comments about the CVS. They were concerned about taking down the old AMP, a Stop and Shop, or whatever was there. But I said, there's nothing wrong with the bones, you know, the basic outline of that building. There's nothing wrong with the basic outline of this building. It's a nice building there. It's got good proportions. And if you get a porch, or at least on two sides of that, you'll still have the same seating. You get some seashells out in front, like, or you'll have obviously a poured footing underneath of the porch. But between the porch and some of the parking, if you have some shells or something like Chatham Village Market does, you get a beautiful restaurant there, absolutely restaurant. And then if you want your modern lighting on the inside, there's nothing we can say about the inside, so outside of the, you know, it being too bright. I think you got something there, but as far as the historic, you know, the appropriateness of it for the historic area, I don't see it happening at all the way it is. Doug?
Well, I'm probably not gonna be popular, but I like the design, I like the look, and I know, it does seem modern, which I'm okay with, but I understand being in the historic district, but, I love the concept, I think it would do very well. So maybe it just needs to be toned down and taking some of the advice from the other committee members and see what they say, but I like what I see so far, so.
Thank you.
Tim?
Again, I think the concept is great. However, I'm looking at, as I drive by, I think there'd be quite a contrast between the two properties in the historic district, such as the CVS and the farm and the Chatham Village Market. Again, I think it's a great concept, but as far as historic and keeping the character of that area, I'd have to say, again, maybe rethink some components and kind of tone it down a little bit. But again, overall, I think the concept is great.
Thank you.
Steve, you got any further comments?
Well, first of all, I'd like to commend you for taking on this project.
Thank you.
Regardless of whatever it looks like in the end. It's a sorely needed project, so I'm glad that someone's trying to undertake this. I guess I agree with most of my colleagues on the board that I would rather see something a little bit more historic looking. I like the idea of the porch, covered porch, instead of the overhangs that are there. You could really still have the same amount of seating. Everything else would stay the same. But I think it needs more historic elements than what you're showing us now. So just so that it is a little bit more cohesive with the CVS and the market next door. There is also a picket fence there now that separates the property behind. I guess it separates the parking lot or the CVS drive-through. Is that coming down? Is that going to stay?
So we're proposing a new fence. One of the things that we looked at is, and I alluded to this in my letter, we recognize that due to the proximity of the building to the property line, it's very challenging. It could be challenging for some larger delivery vehicles to go in there. If semi comes in, they'd be hard pressed to kind of make that turn. We recognize this. So we did reach out to the neighboring owner and the users of the building to see if it would be possible to utilize that. They're basically open to, from what we understand, they're open to what we need. We also looked at an element, and I actually posed this to the fire chief. One of the things that we're looking to do is to do a couple of slide gates in here. So we do want to maintain a fence along the properties. We think that's just as prudent. But by creating these slide gate openings, we not only are allowing, in the event that we have an off-time delivery during open operation periods, we want to keep the public safe, as you do as well. The other thing is we want to make a vista that our safety personnel can actually get to the backside of the building. As we know, a ladder truck would not be able to navigate this So by creating a vista, as I say, for a ladder truck to come through here, or a larger piece of apparatus, we hope that we're improving the safety response to the building. So to answer your question, yes, we are replacing it, but we're making some modifications to it.
Okay, good, okay. Well, other than that, again, I'm glad that someone's taken this on, but I just wish that it would have more historic elements than what you're proposing currently.
So, Mr. Chair, could I ask a couple of questions of the
Certainly,
of the
please,
body, if you will?
please.
So, firstly, with respect to historical correctiveness, again, this is a Greek revival building. The detailing that we're doing is Greek.
No.
The Greek returns here. Granted, it's scraped. It was a service station. I would not put this in Architectural Digest regardless, as far as an example, but they're not colonial-esque. The CVS is more of a colonial type approach. So in looking at this, we were thinking more along the lines of the style of the building. That was our approach, inclusive of the frieze, okay? Granted, the frieze is heavy. So we're looking to make it scale appropriate. We could tone that down quite a bit. When you talk about porches, what element of the porch are you looking for? Because we could simply pave the entire patio space with a porch and call it an open porch, but I don't think that's what you're looking for. I think you're looking for kind of a covered porch, and if we do that, does that create too much of a heavy presence, a heavy aesthetic to the building itself?
No, the answer to that is no, and you're right. I in particular was not looking for an open porch. I simply said that you have plenty of examples, just walk over to see, if you know where CVS is, and if you know where Chatham Village Market is, walk over there, they have a wraparound porch. Not only that, but Cumberland Farms went that way and put a porch out at the end. And you're not gonna lose, as Steve said, with the approach that I'm suggesting that I would be favorable to, is that you're not losing any of your seating, you're not losing any of the restaurant, you're not losing any of the function, you're not changing any of the driving patterns, parking patterns, or lighting for that matter for the parking lot. You're not changing any of the landscaping, nothing. Everything else is fine. Just, I think you need more. And as far as the gutter returns, making a Georgia, is that what you call it, Georgia revival, Chatham Village Market and CVS both have full gutter returns on them with a double block. And they also have a band on them, so. This is, if you look at this and think of the CVS, that's what the CVS was before it got redone. It's the same style building, exactly the same.
So I'm thinking the reaction that we're having mostly is the suspended awning that we're using.
And I would also suggest that looking at more historic windows, like Chatham Village Market did with perhaps shutters. Again, as I say, if you want, I know what you want, a modern restaurant, have it inside, go for it. Looks wonderful in there. If you want,
So if we could
There's
tap
nothing wrong with
into
the
that
with the
once.
windows they're proposing.
Right.
you show me some more in the town of Chatham, Bill, and I'll go along with it.
But it's
I
no
know
different than the storefronts down in Chatham, down in downtown Chatham.
Yeah, I mean, they're windows. If you're worried about detailing around them, let me know. But these are just windows. You can't say, oh, I don't like those windows.
Well, then I agree with Sam that something has to be done because the windows that are shown in one of these renditions simply shows a black outline for a window. So they look just like the windows on a grocery store or a major shopping center. They don't look like any traditional windows in the town of Chatham.
Well, when you keep in mind the fact that the building in the back was A&P for many years, we're just trying to be consistent.
And the windows are panelized on the bottom. There's a heavy sill panel presence. They're traditional storefront style windows. If we did individual punch windows with shutters, you lose a lot of the luster of what this building wants to be. This building wants to have an inside-outside.
The building wants to be appropriate for the Historic Commission.
I don't disagree with that, but I
Yeah, but
also
we need
make-
enough light inside the building so that it's a desirable place to go.
You mean like, let's see, what is that building next door to them? the restaurant?
Next door?
Yeah. Two or three buildings up from them?
Delmar.
Del
Oh,
Mar.
way down Delmar, yeah.
They have traditional windows in there, and that is not an unfavorable place to eat. I find it very nice inside.
It is, but that's actually a restored Friendlies, and the
just a
Friendly
Friendlies.
storefront
It is a
windows.
restored friendly.
I
right.
Yeah, I
agree
know,
with
but
you.
we don't want them restored Friendlies.
Well,
I know, I realize that this is what they wanted when they walked in. If they wanted something approved immediately, then they should make it more historic. I realize this is what they wanted. They want to put this new age restaurant in the middle of Chatham in a prominent place. And it's, in my estimation, I'm not speaking for anybody else here, it's not making it. It's not.
Well, I can tell
will
you
not
this,
go along
the
with it.
windows aren't gonna change. Porch roof, okay. You know, you want that, we can provide that. And the lighting will change as you requested.
Why won't the windows change?
Why should they?
Because they're not historic.
They're also consistent with Del Mar. So Del Mar on the Friendly Corporation, the Friendly Corporation had windows exactly like this, every single one of their restaurants.
Same size?
Yes, sir.
Del Mar that's up there in Chatham now?
I would have to measure that. I can't
Please
speak to
do that before making a statement like that, all right?
Okay, I'll leave that alone.
Yeah, so you really think because these windows are a little bigger than Delmar, that, oh my God, we can't possibly have that in Chatham, we're polluting the historic district. Is that what you're saying, Dan?
I'm saying, Bill, that windows are extremely important aspect to a building, period. If you don't recognize that, then don't bother to be behind that podium.
Well, I can tell you this, there's gonna be a lot of material between those windows and the public. And
I've
they,
got no issues with the public inside, Bill.
I'm not talking about
Our purview
I'm
is
talking
on the
about,
outside of the
I'm
building.
talking about the outside of the building. We have, show the, yeah, there you go. See what we're gonna have in front of the building? You know, the windows are the least prominent thing about this building. Except maybe the wave over the door. But there's no reason why we can't have those windows, aside from your opinion.
Are they raised panels that are under the windows?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's a
And-
heavy sill treatment beneath that, yes.
Are the windows white or black?
Wood,
Wood.
yes, sir.
It's
The entire-
there's also plenty of windows up at Max Seafood. You go up there and look at those, see if you like those.
Yep, they're also front picture windows, and that's what we're doing here, is picture windows. Right now, the windows of this building, this is a continuous storefront right now. It's boarded up, but this is basically an old Conair storefront system. We're looking to get rid of that. What we're doing is we're doing exactly what you're asking us to do, with the exception of going with small proportional single punch windows.
Okay, I guess
If
what
you-
part of the
if-
problem is here, that I'm looking at these renditions,
Mr.
and the
Chair,
proportions, I don't think you took the time. Did you put the actual size of the windows in these 3Ds?
the 3Ds, sir, are actually just an adaptation of what's on your 2D elevation, so they are scale appropriate. And while you're looking it up, sir, what I would endeavor is to have you look at a lot of the storefronts that you have in historical downtown, look at all the store shops. That's where we're getting our inspiration for these larger base windows. We don't want to have small residential windows in a commercial space, in a restaurant that doesn't attract individuals. They are historically correct. They are historically proportioned. We have heavy mutton bars throughout the entire piece. So they are historic windows, and I can make a precedent back to all of your storefront retailers, all your merchant buildings downtown. We could go to Candy Manor, we could go to any one of them.
What we can do when we come back is provide greater detail of the windows, so you'll see that.
And if they're drawn in scale, Bill, I think that's part of the problem here.
But
I
sir,
don't know,
they
I
are
might be
scaled.
wrong.
They are scaled. All the drawings are scaled.
Okay,
I
thank
just
you.
want
You requested that, so we did that.
Darcy?
I just want to say that I think the windows would be okay if you put the porch on or some columns, something like that, to bring it into a more historic being.
Right.
I think, I have to say, I think you need the windows for a restaurant. I mean, I've gone by restaurants, you can't even tell if people are in there or if the lights are on or whatever. So, that's my own opinion, and you have to understand, everybody has their opinion. So what's gonna happen is the vote is what's gonna count.
No, I know,
Whether
but,
it's-
no, we understand, that you guys want a porch roof. So we'll go back to the ownership team and tell them, we're gonna have a porch roof. And we'll throw in a couple of columns and everything, Dan.
Yeah, I think part of the problem is here, the renderings, they're good, they're very good, but I think they're giving us some of the wrong impressions.
Yeah, okay.
And that's fair. So the software that we use,
Yep.
the models that create the elevation are the exact same models that you see in the renderings. They are the same. This is a three-dimensional element.
Yep.
All of the windows that you see are parametric. They're not fooled, they're not hand-drawn. Those days are long gone.
Yep.
So everything that you see on one is actually the other, it's just a different view.
Yeah, I have to say, the other thing I find
Don't argue about
distracting is the overhang that you have up there, you have a lot of braces now, a lot of supports. Gets very busy up there.
That's for the awning piece. But if we do the porch roof as requested, then
Yeah.
those all go away.
Right.
Sure.
As long as it matches, closer to what's in the area, I think you'll be fine. So would you like to, is Mr. Marsh? No?
Yeah, we would like to request, we,
I have, excuse me,
what date do you want
one thing I didn't make clear is that how high is the frieze?
The frieze itself, it's approximately 3 feet tall. It's 2 steps, it's 2 pieces, but it's about a 3-foot frieze. It's heavy, I agree with you, it is heavy.
It's way too heavy. The proportion, just exactly, it's not a historic proportion. It's not a proportion that would be on a Greek Revival building.
I could not agree with you more.
And I think you've got the very hints of a Greek Revival. The gutters do not make columns, and so, and
Fair.
the oculus window is a dime's worth, so.
I think someone just
let's
punched a
not-
hole in the
not-
side of the
not-
building personally.
Not fool around here.
Yeah.
If you want to, you could build up that, you could have a frieze go up and down that rake. And you could, I'm not sure, is the frieze a AZAC board
Yes, sir.
that is flush with the brick that's below it?
No, we're actually building it out. We wanted to add a 3-dimensional element. And if I
Okay,
could just
well,
comment on your gable, I probably don't want to put a frieze there because I have a feeling that would actually be too heavy for the building, quite frankly.
It's a little hidden by this support structure for the, so, while I see you trying to mitigate the width and the overburden of that frieze.
Yes, sir.
It makes it a little bit confusing, and I think you should look for something that runs around at about a 10-inch height, and, and has got a subsill, a secondary member on the, not a gutter necessarily, but something that breaks up that 10-inch height, and then that goes around and becomes the gutter return, the rake return of the ends. And so you really do some justice to a Greek Revival roof.
With respect, I think that a lot of that frieze goes away once we introduce a porch roof, because now the element of the porch roof is going to be that sculptural element. So to introduce a frieze in addition to that porch roof, I think would actually be a disservice.
There you go.
So it's just going to disappear, Sam.
Okay. Oh, by the way, I didn't see that little panel, curved panel over the doors as a wave, and I'm glad you instructed me. I said it was a crooked canopy.
But we
I
must
think you
have,
should lose it.
well, we,
Okay, my closing comments are, I want to thank you very much for doing a great job with the parking areas, the landscaping, the concept of the whole thing. I think it'd be great to have you down there. I just want you to fit in, that's all. It's my job, our job, to make sure that happens.
that's fair.
All right? All right, so Bill, you want to
Continue.
continue to our next meeting, which is what?
18th?
We do have a meeting on May
may
17th,
need more
but
time.
I would
We,
suggest
we
a
won't
little
be ready
further
for
out.
that. I suspect if we bumped it, not to the next meeting, but perhaps the meeting after that, that may be more realistic.
After that would be June 7th, and after that is June 21st.
Probably June 7th is achievable, I think.
Okay, so you're requesting a continuance to June 7th?
Yes, sir.
Yes, we are.
Please.
Looking forward to it. I think you get a really great place. I'm excited about it. Thank you.
It has a great
All right.
presence to us, for sure.
Doug, you want to make a motion to accept the request?
Doug Rat will make a motion under additions/alterations, application 23-059, 859 Main Street LLC, care of JFF Designs, application to renovate the existing structure located at 859 Main Street for a continuance until June 7th.
Darcy Seacon will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Steve?
I approve.
Darcy?
Darcy Seacon approves.
Dan?
Sam Stryber approves.
Doug?
Doug Ratton approves.
Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
Very good. All right.
Thank you all.
Thanks, all. We appreciate all the comments.
Thank
Yes,
you.
indeed.
Well, most of the comments. No, thank you.
I appreciate it all.
Take care, folks. Good luck.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing you. All right, where are we back to here, folks?
Administrative approval exemptions.
I think we should do this if they,
Oh,
they're not.
is,
Is somebody here?
No.
Oh.
23052.
Oh, we're going to go back to that?
We just.
Back to that? Okay.
23052, we needed continuance.
23052 Cinder and Salt, care of Mitchell Kennedy, application to install a wall sign on the structure located at 645 Main Street.
Doug Rat will make a motion to grant a continuance, since the applicant is not here. Is that what I should do?
Yep. Darcy Seacon will second the motion.
You want a date on that, Sarah?
Yes.
How about June 7th, or was it, I'm sorry, it was May, the next meeting is May?
Our next meeting is May 17th.
2 weeks.
Continuance to May 17th?
Darcy Seacon will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Steve?
I approve that.
Darcy?
Darcy approves.
Dan?
Sam Stryber approves.
Doug?
Doug Ratton approves.
Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
Dan approves. Dan Silver approves as well. Thank you. Very good.
Okay, now,
Administrative approval exemptions, 23-53 Elizabeth Gill, care of Mid-Cape Roof, ratification of certificate of exemption to replace the existing rubber roof on the structure located at 24 Deepwater Road.
Okay, who did that trip?
Okay, this application was done by Doug and Sam,
All righty.
and
You guys got any comments?
it is a replacement rubber roof.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward. Love the house.
This is an architect friend of mine who
Who shares
designed
mine.
this after attending the Wisconsin School of Frank Lloyd Wright. So,
Oh, really?
yes, so
Allison,
this is as close to writing and building we have in Chatham or in.
Oh, is it a
on
platform
Cape Cod.
house? Is it a platform house?
A platform?
Yeah. Wright did platform houses. No? No, it's not. No, it's not. No. Okay. Motion?
And I just want to comment, his name is Grattan Gill too, by the way, but no relation. Yes, so Doug Rat will make a motion. Administrative approval/exemptions, 23-053 Elizabeth Gill, care of Mid-Cape Roof, ratification of a certificate of exemption to replace the existing rubber roof on the structure located at 24 Deepwater Road as presented.
Darcy Seacon will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Steve?
Steve DeBoer approves.
Darcy?
Darcy Seacon
Dan?
approves.
Sam Stryber approves.
Doug?
Doug Ratton approves.
Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
Dan Silver approves as well.
So 23-55 South Chatham Properties LLC, care of Derek Burgess, ratification of a certificate of exemption to replace the existing shed with a walk-in cooler located at 1291 Main Street.
Who went out there, folks?
That was us.
So this was also Doug and Sam. This was for work not visible. As you can see on the screen that's being shared, it's very heavily treed. If Chantel goes to the site plan, you can see where the existing shed is located. And the cooler will be going in that location.
All right. Any questions, fellas? Folks?
So Doug Grant will make a motion on administrative approval / exemptions, application 23-055, South Chatham Properties LLC, care of Derek Burgess. Ratification of a certificate of exemption to replace the existing shed with a walk-in cooler located at 1291 Main Street as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. All right, let's see, Steve?
Steve DeBoer approves.
Darcy?
Darcy Sequin
Sam?
approves.
Sam Stryber
Doug?
approves.
Doug Grattan approves.
Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
All righty.
23-57, Lois Castellana, ratification of a certificate of exemption to paint clapboards, trim, and rear exterior door located at 759 Main Street.
This application for exemption was done by Darcy and Doug, and they are just maintenance, painting, clapboards, trim, and doors in white.
Simple color, huh?
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
Now you see Greek Revival trim.
Yeah.
You know, this is,
That is
look
great.
at, look at that rake coming down on,
Yep.
anyway. So,
All right, so under administrative approval / exemption, application 23-057, Lois Castellana, ratification of a certificate of exemption to paint clapboards, trim, and rear exterior door located at 759 Main Street as presented.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
Doug?
Doug Grattan approves.
Sam?
Sam Stryber approves.
Darcy?
Darcy Sequin approves.
Steve?
Steve DeBoer approves.
And Silver approves as well. All right. That leaves us with Doug's favorite motion.
Doug Grattan would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Darcy Sequin will second the motion.
Darcy, our motion's been made and seconded. All right, Tim?
Tim Gilmore approves.
Doug?
Doug Grattan approves.
Sam?
Sam Stryber approves.
Darcy Sequin approves.
And Steve DeBoer approves.
And Dan Silver approves as well. Thank you, folks. Don't forget to like.